Hi Tom, this is a response to your coming out video of December 2nd, or whatever you want to call it. I've seen a few of the responses you've had to this, and they have been overwhelmingly favourable. This one will not be. This is what might be called a tough love video, rather than one that endorses the love that once dared not speak its name, but now shouts it from the rooftops. This is what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Tom Daley is 19 years old and is head over heels in love with another guy and doesn't see why this should be a problem. Well, it is. I'm somewhat older than you, in fact I'm 3 times your age. You're young, good looking, charismatic, and obviously you have a few quid in the bank. When I was your age I was none of these things, and as you can see nothing has changed, at least not for the better. When I was your age I also had male friends who were handsome, intelligent, charismatic, and some of them had money to spend, if not money to burn. These were guys I liked being around, but unlike you, and unlike some youths for whom homosexual experiences are a rite of passage, I was never in the slightest attracted to any of them sexually. And I can honestly say that this was the norm. At that time, back in the late 1960s and early 70s, it was recognised just because you had a crush on someone or simply liked being around a person, there was not necessarily any sexual attraction, whether or not that individual was the same sex as you. There were some people for whom this kind of attraction is truly massive. As you were only 3 years old when she died, you won't remember Diana. I actually saw her in the flesh once, albeit extremely briefly, and she had that sort of appeal. I knew another girl even more tragic than Diana who had the same sort of appeal to both sexes, but I won't go there. I've never met the Dalai Lama, but he's another person who inspires this sort of attraction. As he is now 78, I think it's fair to say that few people would claim he's sexually attractive. Yet Tom Daley, who has dated at least one girl, meets a guy he finds physically attractive, and it's love at first sight. What else could it be? As I said, back in the 1960s and 70s, this would not have been the case. But unfortunately, the last 2 generations have been brainwashed by gay propaganda, and that includes you. I use the word gay in quotation marks, because there's really nothing gay about homosexuality. It is unfashionable, and indeed for some people it can be suicidal to state that, but it's true nevertheless. This is a quote from November 2000, a letter to the Daily Telegraph signed by a number of concerned medical specialists. They were concerned at the lowering of the age of consent for queer sex. It is particularly worrying that alternative sex is being taught to school children as an alternative to normal sex. The government's commitment to reducing the age of consent introduces vulnerable teenagers to a lifestyle strongly linked to premature death. It causes physical damage to the anus and spreads infections such as hepatitis and sexually transmitted diseases such as HIV. Did you get that, Tom? That is what you are, a vulnerable teenager, and you are at risk of being inducted into a lifestyle that can and almost certainly will send you to an early grave. That is the consensus of medical opinion, and it carries far more weight than Jonathan Ross and however many of his gay-friendly fellow travellers proclaim otherwise. This guy you've hooked up with, Dustin Black, is twice your age and has been known to hang out in San Francisco. That should ring alarm bells. Even before the rise of AIDS, homosexual practices were high risk. Now let me ask you this, how many sexual partners has this guy had? In view of the rampant promiscuity of homosexuals, you are literally dicing with death. You're currently flavour of the month, but do you really want to end up becoming the poster boy for AIDS? So you want to go out with guys. Great, there are lots of things you can do with guys. You can go out drinking with them. Now that is a rite of passage. You can do other things with them like you did with your dad. You laughed at Dad, that's obvious. So clearly you understand that sex doesn't come into it. If you'd been born in 1894 rather than 1994, you might well have learned the true value of male bonding, friendship and comradeship. Certainly you would have had you ended up in the trenches during the so-called war to end all wars. There are other things you can do with guys. You can go wenching together. And you, Tom, can have any woman you like within reason. Why would you want to mount another man like a dog when you can roll a willing maid in clover? Give this some serious thought, Tom. Make the right decision, not the popular one. You don't have to take me at my word. Check out the medical literature, or simply ask your own doctor face to face for his honest opinion. One final point. If you do decide that queer sex is for you, and you can't abstain from it, don't mix and match. Here's another quote from that letter to the Daily Telegraph. Men who practice anal sex and then have sex with women give them very severe pelvic infections with resulting infertility or chronic ill health. You hear that? If you do engage in perverted sex with other men, stay away from the ladies, at least until you get a clean bill of health. Don't hook up with a girl like Laura Robson and give her some disgusting disease. Peace.